Hello everyone, and
Hi.
welcome back to Ghostbusters, the video game remastered walkthrough part 8. I think we're on 8, 9, something like that.
7, 8, 9.
My name is Devin Dion. I am the writer and editor of Channeling Spirits, along with the incredible...
It's Vigo!
Nope, not Vigo.
Hi, I'm Heidi Dion. I am the voice of Channeling Spirits.
Yeah, and we did just see Vigo. But before
That's why I said
this, what, Heidi, do you remember? Can you recap what our last episode was?
You know, you asked me this, and I try to remember.
And you fail.
I just mentally block it out of my brain.
You just don't want to know.
Last week, didn't we fight this big monster? I think I called him Jubs or Jubbles.
I think the chairman, yes.
Jubs.
We got through the museum.
Which we've started calling our cat.
Jub. Anyway, yes, we went through the museum. We fought the chairman. We found out that the mandala nodes have appeared at both the library, the museum. They've been kind of tracking this, so this is what you're seeing right here. They're using this strange symbol, and they're trying to pinpoint what it actually means. So, do you remember in our Mapping Out Ghostbusters series the mandala?
I remember saying mandala nodes a lot.
What did you call them? Did you call them mandala?
Nods.
No,
I said
Mandala?
Mandala.
Yeah.
Mandala, potato.
Anyway, so they're going through this, and they're starting to find out, hey, there's these series of focal points. So it's essentially kind of like as Egon described it, it's kind of like a bus route. So ghosts are on this bus route, and they get picked up, and then there's more on the bus, and they're kind of spiraling to this point of, hey, we're getting more concentrated power as far as that's happening. So they're like in this labyrinth. So I guess that was Shandor's plan, and I think I want to do a video because so Shandor was like, okay, so I believe in Gozer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to renovate all these buildings to make them mandala nodes. Then I'm going to have this random apartment building be the portal.
I mean, what if it was a hotbed before? They say like certain spots the veil is thinner.
So you're talking about like ley lines?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but... I think I may want to get into like Shandor's weird plan for this, because it's
Shandor wasn't there.
I don't know what
Take
you're
me
doing.
to the fair.
Oh my goodness.
Daddy wasn't there. Someone had some daddy issues.
Anyway, so it's kind of fascinating, but yeah. So Alyssa is like right now talking about being in Sedgewick. So you remember they first met her in the Sedgewick.
Yes.
And she was at room 1221, or had some
Good for
feelings
you
about.
for remembering that.
Well, it's kind of an important thing in the Ghostbusters mythos. So as you can see, they're going back to Sedgewick. But the
Would
Sedgewick.
you stay in the Sedgewick?
Oh, hells yeah! That sounds great. I mean, I would even say in the Biltmore. Biltmore.
Yeah, I would too. We can do that.
I mean, I guess we could if
That's
we went
pretty
to
easy
LA.
to do.
So it has been closed down by the Peacock, or PCOC, paranormal blah 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 blah.
I wanna see your
Dickless.
peacock.
Nope, not that. So what's kind of weird here is, all right, so they're investigating this, right?
Okay.
And Dickless has essentially shut them down.
Okay.
They are doing this for free. Like, no one's paying them to investigate the Sedgewick right now. And they're just, like, ripping this up. They're like, you know what? We're going to do it anyway.
We're going to break in.
And, like,
breaking and entering. It's
the
fine.
whole thing about, like, Ghostbusters, especially like, the first movie, is, like, capitalist startup. But, like, now they're like, you know what? We're going to do some pro bono work because we just want to.
They just want to get back to the city, It's their
I
city.
don't know if I agree with that. It's kind of weird. But... yeah, so they're in the middle of it. Bill has Peter rather has stayed back, I think, with Alyssa because he's such a terrifying man whore, and
Yes.
they're just checking out the Sedgewick again.
Gotcha.
So you can see a lot of from my damages. They've had to do a lot of
That's
reconstruction.
probably why they shut down. They're like, man, I can't afford these renovations that are going to need to happen. You know, put them out of business.
Good for them. Well, now we're doing it for free, and I'm going to destroy it.
You're just going to destroy it more.
For
You're
free.
just causing more damage.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's
I don't
true.
know how our house is standing.
The flowers are still standing. You get it? Say what I?
No.
Say what I? It's from the.
No.
Anyway,
Okay.
so we gotta destroy more of the Sedgewick. That's really the only solution. I'm pretty sure all these columns were destroyed before, but now we gotta take them back out again.
You're literally going to cause the building to collapse, and you're going to die.
And then I'll become a ghost, and then the other Ghostbusters then can bust my ghost. You see the cycle?
No.
Oh.
I just disagree.
But what's really cool that I will give a lot of credit to Ghostbusters, the video games, the writers, the developers, and all of that, is I really think they took some disparaging like concepts, like it's like, oh, they visit the library, oh, they visit this hotel, and they kind of gave like a meaning to that, and they don't include so much or much of the second one, which I kind of wish they did more, because like I remember when this first came out circa 2009, like that they had like they were talking about a museum level, and I was like, oh my goodness, they're gonna have the museum from the second one, which to me would like make sense, but it's not. It's like the Natural History Museum, but I feel like if they did the museum from the Manhattan Museum of Art where Vigo was, like that would just integrate it so much more. But what wasn't the case. I still think it's a great great game, great story.
Yeah.
Right. I think you see these little like weird things.
Those ghosts?
So they're like they call them like echoes of ghosts, which like
That's weird.
isn't like a ghost already like I guess
echo?
an echo of a person.
Huh.
So I don't know.
Can they move? Like, can they hurt? Why are you destroying this couch?
The couch knew what it did. No, they can't do anything. Like they're just like
There?
I don't even know how to describe them. Like they're
That's
just yeah, they exist. That's where they are. So we're wandering around. We hear something strange, and it's like a screech, and it's the manager of the hotel.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. So.
Well, yeah, I'd be freaked out too if I thought I was alone in this empty place, and then I suddenly hear all of this damage happening. I would scream.
Well, I think you'd probably also scream if I,
Lit you on fire?
He's fine. He'll be fine. Yeah.
Leave this poor man alone.
Is he being paid? Like, okay, so we're not being paid. Is he
Lives
being paid?
here. Maybe this is his residence.
He just like, well, who's cooking in the kitchen? All the cooks have probably gone home.
Probably got a microwave.
In the Biltmore? This is a fancy restaurant. They're not gonna have microwaves.
You'd be surprised.
It's true. So he's kind of going over the history of the Biltmore. So there is this.
Oh, sexy ghost, Teo.
Well,
ooh, I like her.
So that is the Spider Witch. So back in the 1920s, 30s, I don't remember offhand, there was a woman who was staying at the hotel, and she would essentially lure men in, and she would murder them.
Oh, so she's like a vengeance demon.
What are you talking about?
You know, Buffy, Anya's a vengeance demon.
I don't know if this
She
was
gets
for
vengeance specifically against men that have wronged women.
I mean,
Yeah, that's
it's
great.
possible. It's possible.
I would do that.
They know. Okay. They never like discuss like why she's killing these men.
They deserve it.
Probably, to be honest. Like, man, you know what you done. But she so she committed these murders, and I don't fully remember, but I think it's tied to, I want to say it's tied to the Cult of Gozer, right? And so that's also like, this is a Mandala node, and like fueled. Like,
Why did you just
chandeliers.
destroy a recycling
I
can?
hate
The
recycling.
You're the opposite of Recyclops.
Bow down before Recyclops!
I learned nothing from Captain Planet. So, and what's interesting, so, Slimer, right?
Yeah.
So, one of the origins or possible origins. The origin that I really like is that he essentially is, there were these attempts to call on Gozer, and that one of the like cult attempts was created Slimer, and that's why he haunts the Sedgewick.
Got it. Is that a person's pants?
Disco pants. Evil disco pants.
What?
because that's where it is.
What? I'm sorry. What just happened? There were a pair of floating pants. They weren't moving. Why'd you call them disco pants?
They were like the bell bottoms.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like evil. I don't know if they're evil. They're like possessed disco pants. It was you know.
He's got that Saturday Night Fever.
Ooh yeah. So yeah, that's partly why. But the thing that I don't really get is, all right, so ghosts, right?
Yeah.
Do you think ghosts are limited to a like perimeter, or like?
I think it depends.
Okay, go on.
I mean, yeah, I think there's definitely buildings that are haunted with specific ghosts for sure, and I don't think those ghosts really ever leave there.
Do you think there's like vagrant spirits?
Well, I think they probably travel between the spirit world and the normal world.
No, but I'm talking about like.
I did not like that.
It's a web fiend. He's fine. No, like, all right. So Slimer, right? Mm-hmm. Who, according to one origin, was created in the Sedgewick, haunts the Sedgewick. When we capture him in the video game, he goes back to the Sedgewick. But in the first movie, he's found in Rockefeller Center in a hot dog cart. Mm-hmm. And in the second movie, he's driving a bus around. So it's not like Beetlejuice where he's limited where he can go. Mm-hmm. So do you think he just likes like that's his like familiar place? I mean, obviously he's not limited.
Yeah, it's like his home.
But like, do you think like, if you believe in ghosts, and I'd be curious on anyone's thoughts, like, you know, like, do you think like ghosts are limited to or just enjoy a particular location?
I don't know. I mean, I read this book series called the Southern Ghost Hunter series. Lots of fun.
Okay.
And her house becomes haunted by a ghost because she accidentally pours the ashes into the ground. Like, she plants flowers, and anyway, his ashes get mixed in, so he's like bound to the house. But in the urn are some of his ashes, so she can take the urn with her places, and then he can leave the boundaries of the house. So it's like part of him.
So it's kind of like, how long did you watch Supernatural?
I mean, I've seen most of it.
Did you get to the point where Bobby passed away?
Yeah.
So sorry if you haven't watched Supernatural.
Spoilers.
So amazing character Bobby passes away, and ghosts within that universe, like, in order to destroy them, you have to destroy their remains, right? So if their body is buried in the ground, you got to burn the remains.
It's kind of gruesome, but yeah.
Yeah, and so, but if they have like other remains, like they've been printed on an item, then they can remain until that item's also destroyed. So Bobby has a flask, and so he actually like continues with Sam and Dean, and then he gets more and more aggressive, and then they realize, like, listen, we have to get rid of the flask that Bobby is tied to. But he can kind of travel with them, because if the flask is going, then he can go to that area. But they don't really specify, like, all right, well, what's, like, is it 100 feet from
something?
Well, because he, like, drank out of it.
Oh,
like his DNA or essence, you know, was tied to this.
So he didn't wash the cup.
It's a flask. I don't
wash
do it.
Your flasks, guys. Wash your flasks.
Yeah, that's real important. But yeah, like, I'm very curious on, like, ghost rules. Like, all right, like, so fine, let's go by that rules. Do you get to, like, do 100 feet from this item that you've imprinted? I don't know.
I don't know.
What are your thoughts?
I still think that ghosts haunt particular places, or maybe, I know more demons can definitely travel. They're not like a demon trapped in a house. I think demons more like haunt people, whereas ghosts haunt locations.
I think that's actually really interesting. Like, you know, would a ghost be interested? Like, let's say, you know, Joe Schmo, like, if a ghost doesn't have any knowledge of that person, like, would they be interested in following them? Whereas a demon might, because like they're sensing a certain energy and they want whatever that person might have. Mm-hmm. I think that's fascinating. But we'd love to hear your thoughts. Anyway, back to, we got totally distracted.
What did you do?
So
What'd you
powers,
do, Ray?
What did you do, Ray?
The power's off. And so we're in the generator room and we're trying to get power back on. So you're kind of trapped in the darkness, like a little spooky. And there are definitely some elements of this game that are a little spooky. So, or I want to ask a hypothetical question, right?
Okay.
So you're trapped in the darkness. Lights just shut out.
Nope.
They don't come back on.
Nope.
You have one weapon at your disposal.
Nope.
What's your weapon?
Suicide.
What? Okay, fine. Then how do you commit suicide? It's like Seppuku? You got like a katana?
I'd probably just have a panic attack and die, honestly.
Well, no. Come on.
Okay,
And feel free,
one weapon of choice.
Viewers, feel free to add to this.
Well,
We'd
it's
love to hear.
against a ghost, so...
No. I'm just talking
just
about,
in
like,
general?
just the lights went off the house, and you're scared. What would you want at your disposal if you could have any item?
I would want, like a long sword, very sharp.
But like a lightsaber? I'm talking about any
any
fictional
weapon?
item.
I'd
like,
have a magic wand, and then be like Lumos, and then it'd be light again. What?
that's
Logic.
actually a pretty good answer. Can't fight that one.
What about you?
I mean, my go-to would be proton pack. Like, it's just...
Well, I
wouldn't want that in my house. I'd destroy my house, obviously.
Yes.
Have you seen?
Yes. Well, I like anything. I really like meleeing in games.
You love your, like, lances and
Yes,
spears.
I love like long sticks, just beating people with them.
Just...
Admit it, you're a witch.
But you are dressed as one.
I'm much more long range. Like, I like my bows, trying to like stealthily.
The bows are fun. The bow and arrow is fun.
But I like having that distance, or like.
No, I like to go right up to it and just attack it.
You just
and take the damage. It's
run.
great.
You're a tank. You're a tank. Whereas I'm just much more like, I like the mage technique of like, I'm going to use these, my magic from a distance and fireball from a far away, or bow and arrow.
That's boring. I just like to be right up in the action and just bam, 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 bam.
What sort of RPG are you? Are you a tank? Are you a healer? Are you a mage? Heidi has no idea what I'm talking about. Because she just... okay. So anyway, we're in the kitchen. We keep getting distracted. We're in the kitchen. There was this evil chef who was a poisoner.
Evil chef.
Evil chef. He is the chef from Ratatouille.
Chef Boyardee.
Who we're trying to trap. And so what I've been trying to do is this fun little technique, if you can see here. It's called slime dunk.
It looks like a marshmallow. Or a cupcake.
A little bit. And you can actually use the slime tether to like pull them into the trap. It's called a slime dunk. It's an award like a trophy you get. So I did it earlier.
What was those?
It was a bunch of like pots. Like, I don't know. Like, apparently that's how he went. It's via pots. He was a pothead. Don't do drugs, kid.
Okay.
So
why are we attacking a rock?
It's because, so you remember the dark matter generator could be used as like a freeze ray. Mm-hmm. So I like froze them there. Oh. There's another thing you can do, and I forget what the reward or award is called, is where you freeze them and trap them, which I don't know if I've ever been able to do. If you have, I'd love to know how to do it. In this whole playthrough, I don't think I actually get it. So a couple little like fun awards and things and extra goodies that you can do to keep the game interesting, even after you've played through it on various difficulties.
Hello,
there's
Mr.
awards.
Manager.
It's just manager.
Just wait, you stop.
He knows what he did. I hated him. He wouldn't pay us the full amount, and now we're not being paid. And so again, with this game, there's a lot of, and it's great when you're playing the game to kind of hear some of this, but like when you're trying to do a walkthrough and like they just chat it up and you have to wait for them. So I'll see if I can find this cursed object. I don't remember
What happened to the Spider Woman?
We haven't got to her yet. They just talked about her history and
what
like.
a tease.
Well, so she's on the 12th floor, right?
Mm-hmm. Side note, so in hotels, did you know that they typically don't have a 13th floor?
I was literally just going to get to this, but go on.
Because a lot of, obviously, people are superstitious, and 13's a bad number. I personally enjoy the number 13. But they don't have a 12th floor. It skips from 12 to 14. But if you're staying on the 14th floor, you know what floor you're on.
Well, and that's literally what they talk about in this game. So, like, I want to say the manager says, like, well, none of the grand old hotels have a 13th floor.
This hotel has no 13th floor. None of the grand old hotels do.
And
like,
so the
you know
12th
what floor it is?
floor is the 13th. So the 1221 that the Spider Witch stayed at.
Oh, so do they just, like, have a floor 0?
I don't know if they ever explain it, but essentially the 12th floor is the 13th floor.
Got it.
And so that's part of it, but they don't, like you said, they don't call it the 13th.
Yeah,
like if you're scared of 13, you're dumb, calling you out. I said it. Fight me.
What if you stay in room 666, you know, man?
Ooh, I mean, that'd be a lot of rooms on the 6th floor if you have 66 of them.
I mean, I'm sure there's some hotel out there that is...
I don't know if you're correct. Let us know. Let us know if you know of a hotel room that has 66 rooms on the floor.
I'm doubting myself.
So okay. So all these repairs happened because of me, and the power went out, and so we had to start the power up at the generator to get power to the elevator to get up to the 13th floor.
Why can't you take the stairs?
Probably, well, because remember remember like the
What
the
happens
flood.
if there's a fire?
Remember the flood from Pappy Sargassi, where it, like, took out the stairs?
Yeah.
So I think the stairs are, like, not an option.
Got it.
So, now we have to get up to the 12th/13th floor to get to the Spider Witch, to stop the node, etc., etc. I think Egon's explaining what I kind of did with the mandala of, it being like a bus stop where it's collecting energy. So they're kind of, figuring out throughout this, and they do a good job with exposition of kind of like slowly explaining, this is what this mysterious symbol is. This is what its intention was. So yeah, it's interesting, and I'm curious on how much of this was like Dan and Harold's original idea, and how much of it, because they claim the video game was written by Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, fun.
It's not.
Okay.
They put that on there as, I think, there's your Spider Witch.
Oh, yes. Love her.
So they put that on for like a marketing thing, but like they definitely like didn't write most of it. Like, they had some input and being like, hey, let's edit that. Maybe let's add that. But it's like, it was written by the developers of the game.
It's kind of like Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. They were written by different
like,
people, but it's like, J.K. Rowling approves. I put
like,
my hand on this.
By J.K. Rowling, but not really.
But not really.
Yeah, so I really wonder if this was a very clever designer's, idea of like, hey, like, I'd like to do this, and I want to incorporate these ideas. I wonder if Dan and Harold said like, oh, okay, you've got some good stuff, but we'd like to like maybe spin it this way. I don't know. But it did the blessing of them, which is really cool.
Yeah.
The original four voices. Wish Harold was still around today. Yeah. I think we just passed his
anniversary date.
6th year. I think he passed away in 2014, and
Oh, that's the year we met.
Yeah, and it was February.
So that was like right after we met.
Yeah. This is a sad time. I remember, and I will say, like, I heard it. My brother texted me, and if there was anybody that was going to tell about the passing of Harold Ramis, it would have the only person I would have wanted to hear it from was my brother. And so shout out to you, Derek. I know you don't watch these, but shout out to you. I love you, buddy.
What about Bill when he passes?
I don't want to talk about the passing of
Just
them.
trying to prepare.
They will never die.
Okay.
And when they do, they'll be ghosts and they'll live forever.
And you'll bust
But
them.
they'll be
that's
limited.
a disgusting toilet.
It's a cursed object.
Harry Potter and the Cursed Toilet.
Cursed toilet. Oh God, moaning Myrtle. Hello. What? Can you do the Myrtle voice? I can't.
No, I can't.
She's got that like annoying
like,
squeaky voice. Like, ugh.
Moaning Myrtle.
That wasn't bad. That was it. How old was the actor?
Oh, she's like
actress?
in her 30s or 40s.
That's really creepy.
Yeah, that's just how she talks. I've seen her in other things, and that's
and
just
she's
her
always
voice.
got that like
that's
weird.
That's like her actual voice. Yeah.
That's. I always thought it was like a character choice.
No.
Okay. The Rookie and Egon, where we're walking through the 12th/13th floor. I'm tired of saying that. I think I'm just gonna call it the 13th floor. Looking for the Spider Witch. So there are. I want to say, so when you first go through this level, you remember like the first level?
Oh, I see spider webs.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you start getting
It's just like
immersed
in
in
Lord
their.
of the Rings when I'm, they're going through that
Oh,
tunnel.
Shelob's lair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that her name?
Yeah. She loved the giant spider.
For some reason, I thought it was She-Ra or something. I don't know.
She-Ra, like He-Man?
I don't know.
I have the power!
What's going on?
Also, have you ever just walked through a spider web before? You've been just like walking down the street or near a tree, and then
you're
a
just
spider
like,
web just goes in your face, and you freak out.
And you look like a crazy person, because
Yes.
like...
Yes.
And everyone around you is just like, okay, buddy.
Oh, you're killing her babies.
Well, she knows what she did.
So I don't understand. She's a ghost, but she can make spider babies?
What are you asking?
I'm confused.
So the whole idea
Are they
here
ghost
is
spider babies?
well, there are these I think they're called web crawlers. So I mean she's a very powerful entity, right? Like as
She
the
said she's a
chairman
witch,
was, as I mean they call her the Spider Witch. I don't know if she's like a
True witch.
yeah, like a true witch. I mean they definitely did some cult rituals. So like from that standpoint, you could make an argument that she is witch-like based on doing the rituals.
Got it.
And so she can create these. I'm gonna call them web crawlers. I might be wrong. But these little like things that crawl around.
Spiders.
Yes, you're not wrong. So
They were black and red too. Does that make them Black Widows?
well, I mean, she's kind of like a Black Widow killer. She doesn't necessarily like marry people, but she would lure men. So kind of like a Black Widow killer.
Surprised they didn't call the bride in the haunted mansion like the Black Widow bride.
They did.
Oh, they did.
They literally do call her that.
This is really awkward. Sorry.
Sorry you didn't know that. Yeah.
Maybe I did.
I feel like you
know.
did. Anyway, so she's not quite like a Black Widow killer in some of the traditional sense of like real life Black Widow killers because she's not married. So they're the little web crawlers I'm talking about.
Got it.
Because she would just like lure men and then maybe sacrifice them. Maybe that was kind of the point of that. But
Oh, yep, there's some bodies. Those bodies are still there?
well, it's suspension of disbelief. You it's not like she actually got them in like real life 1991. This is her dimension. If you
So,
will.
okay, did she have any like magic powers when she was a human? So did she put these people in webs? This is what I want to know.
I don't. So what I remember is they talk about this like the manager literally like talks about the like story of the Black Widow bride, or not Black Widow bride, the Spider Witch, and that essentially like they would like find the room. When they found the room, it was like in a mess, and like I think like sofas were like gnawed, and like it was kind of like they literally like describe it as like a nest. She was a real person, so it's not like she was like making real web.
Just gnawing on a couch.
I don't really understand like why she was like destroying furniture and stuff like that. And
I don't like those bodies. I don't know why they freak me out.
well, she wasn't in her real life form actually webbing men up.
Yeah.
This is I guess
her victims.
like a symbolic display of her prowess. Yeah, sort of thing. I think it's really interesting, and again, I like that Slimer's origin has kind of been incorporated to that. I think it's a little, and I wonder what your thoughts are. Like, So when you tie everything together, it's kind of interesting because you're like, oh, that's so cool, it all connects. But then it's also very convenient that it's like, oh, the reason there was a library ghost is because Shandor did that. Oh, the reason that Slimer existed is because Shandor did that.
Sometimes I don't need those explanations.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like, it's kind of good,
I know
kind
people
of bad.
want to know all the whys and stuff, but sometimes I don't need to know because sometimes it feels kind of like a cop-out, you know what I mean?
Well, it feels very forced. Yeah, it's inconvenient. Like
Han Solo's movie.
Ugh, not gonna get into that. That's how he got his jacket.
Kill you.
But you know what I mean? Like, on one hand, it's like, oh, that is really cool. But it's also like, all right, so Shandor essentially is responsible for every single thing ever. Like, where did the slime come from? Shandor. Why was the library haunted? Shandor. Why was the Sedgewick haunted? Shandor. Oh, okay. Like,
where did the Bible come from? Shandor.
What? So, I don't know. I'm curious, listeners, what your thoughts are. Whether you do like that connective tissue, or whether you don't really need that, and it's not like ghosts are ghosts. They haunt places. Like that's just.
Yeah.
And I want to say, like, I'm sure that the public library is just haunted. Like,
for sure.
You know what I mean? I'm sure like old buildings just get haunted.
Because they have
happens.
history.
Not because Shandor decided to make 5 basements and, et cetera, et cetera.
So much. I hated the basement levels.
I know. All right, so here's the Spider Witch. We are finally facing her.
Oh.
Yeah,
she
she's
looks different.
She's literally morphed into like half spider, half witchy.
She makes me think of the spider from Bug's Life.
Oh, I don't know her name, but I know what you're
either.
talking
Yeah.
about. To me, it reminds me of, you remember in Mummy 2, the Scorpion King?
Oh yeah,
with
sure.
with Dwayne Johnson,
Yeah.
our neighbor.
Yes.
we should go over to him and be like, hey neighbor, you remember the Mummy 2 when you were a bad CGI Scorpion?
I mean, I told you I saw him the other week.
Oh yeah, it's true. How was he?
Nice.
Good contribution there,
Yeah.
Heidi.
He was, trying not to get recognized, and you never want to be that person. Even if you're like, I don't know, even if you're like, you go up to them and you're like, hey, I really wanted to say I appreciate your work and stuff. I don't know, like, I'd be like, just leave me alone.
I mean, I think it depends. I think there's definitely some people that like want that recognition, and then there's like, I'm sure a lot of it, especially like someone like Dwayne Johnson, where it's like you get that so much, you get
just over it.
Yeah, you want to just go to the grocery store and buy groceries, like you don't
just go to the grocery store, please.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, didn't you say like you saw Frankie Muniz in the grocery store in like Arizona?
Yeah, in Target.
Yeah, exactly. So like, don't tell me like sometimes they do just go to the grocery store or Target or whatever. #Target, #sponsorship. We are not sponsored by Target.
But we do love them.
Oh, you can't show that.
We go like once a week.
So yeah. Anyway, back to the game. So you have the CPS is actually really good with her. So you can see how you can tag her as a target, and you have the homing missiles. So she will like disappear like right there, and then you can track her down, because what she'll do is she'll go to her nest, and then she'll recharge. So she'll like feed and then get her energy back. So by tracking her, then you can stop her a lot easier. So,
Got it.
It's good. Like I think I said before, a lot of the bosses, they do a good job of changing up.
It looked like she just fell off.
She did.
Oh, okay.
She did, and then she like disappeared.
Oh, okay.
They do a good job of like varying it up. Do you remember like Azetlor was like a big giant that was super hard, and so they do a good job varying the difficulty, varying the bosses up, and I gotta find her now. She's almost gone. But
So is this your favorite video game?
oh, that is a really good question. I don't know if it is, to be honest, and I've never really thought about it. Is yours Horizon Zero Dawn?
Absolutely.
That is I would say definitely in the top 10 for me. If you have not played Horizon Zero Dawn, if you have a PS4,
We talk about it all the time.
like seriously, you need to play that game. It's just wonderful. I remember like the first time seeing it, I was like, giant mechanical dinosaur robots I shoot down with a like arrow. Sold. But I have a lot of nostalgia for like SNES games. So like Super Mario World, I really enjoy. I love Link. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. But this one, for what it does to the franchise, I think is great. But I can't say it's like, of every video game ever, my very favorite.
Wait, what just happened?
We just, we stopped her.
Oh.
Took out the Spider Witch.
Okay. Well, because you randomly were just like, and now we're in the dining room or whatever.
Do you remember
like,
how
what?
I like said we were like going into her dimension?
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
So you didn't know where you actually were.
So, but we end in the room where she did the killings. So that's the 1221 room.
Got it.
And that's where we find the Mandala node, and they're like, hey, we found another Mandala node, and you keep seeing as we keep extinguishing the nodes, like one go off on the symbol.
Gotcha.
So we've finally taken them out, and we're gonna take a breather from there since we finally have ended the Sedgewick Chronicle.
Woo!
And we'll come back next time and see what else is in store for us.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Yes, thank you. Bye. Do.
Hooray!
Egon!